Grace and peace to you, Christ Community family. I pray that all of you are healthy and well. We have come together on the second week of January as we pause in the middle of our weeks so that we can gather around God's Word for our midweek devotionals, our Wednesday's Word. For this week, I wanted to share briefly some reflections from 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now, a lot of Christians only focus on this one verse. And they focus on the race. They focus on the words finishing well. But when Paul wrote this, he wrote this toward the end of his life, almost like a memoir or like a will. So you actually have to read this in the fuller context. So let me read verse 6 and 7 for us. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. For I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now, church, we've started a new year. We're a couple weeks in. And many times when we start a new year, we start with purpose. We start with this hope. And then the moment that we falter, the moment that we fall, we land in disappointment. And then we just can't wait to get a clean slate, a clean day, a clean month, a clean start all over again. But when Paul was writing this, I don't think he was focused on whether you're stuck in disappointment or not, but rather he was focused on how you finished the race, or more so, whether you finished the race. Are you going to finish that spiritual race? Now, our legacy of faith won't mean a thing if we don't finish the spiritual race. Our legacy of faith won't mean a thing if we don't finish that spiritual race. You know, it's not about sprinting in that race. It's not about walking that race. It's about whether or not you finish the spiritual race. Now, obviously, when you're turning a corner, maybe you got to slow it down. When you're going straight, maybe you got to speed it up. Maybe when you're going uphill, it's going to slow you down a bit and it's going to be harder. Maybe when you go downhill, it's going to feel like you're on top of the game and you are flying. You know, I shared these reflections from 2 Timothy 4 because when Paul wrote this, he didn't write this thinking of just one little thing. He didn't write this thinking about one little event. He probably wrote this thinking about the big picture, thinking about his entire life story, entire testimony of faith. He was able to testify that he had fought the good fight and finished the race because he poured out his life as an offering to the Lord. Maybe for us Christians, we shouldn't be focusing on the one little day, one little event, one little year. Maybe we should be focusing on the big picture, our entire life. Whether our life is a poured out offering for the Lord. Now, this year in 2023, as a church, we've declared to the Lord that our ministry theme is to step up and step out. To actually proactively live out and embody that faith. Rather than focusing on whether you completed the race or not, the first focus should be, are you ready to pour out your life as an offering to the Lord? Are you ready to pour out your life as an offering to the Lord each day of your life? Are you ready to pour out your life as an offering to the Lord this year? Then, step 2 would be, are you ready to complete that race? And are you ready to keep the faith? My hope and prayer, church, is that Paul's testimony here can be an encouragement, but more so importantly, a challenge as a church family for us to receive so that we can live out this year. Not just focused on just this one year, but focusing on pouring out our entire life as an offering to the Lord so that we can complete and finish the race well, so that we can testify of God's faithfulness, so that we can testify of our faithfulness to the Lord, and so that we can complete this race well and finish well. The Lord bless you and keep you. I hope you have a blessed week.